Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Soul. Thank you for joining me here. It's another astrology solo episode. Yes, I'm late on this episode, but thank you for waiting. No, I can't even apologize for being late because I feel like it was worth the wait. So instead of saying I'm sorry, I'm going to say thank you for waiting. I really do appreciate it. So Uranus moving into Gemini, it's huge. And every time I say that, I laugh because I know astrologers, we say that with every transit. We're like, it's huge, it's big, it's game changing. Life will never be the same. But no, this one truly is a lot of change, and the change and shifts will be fast. It might be so fast, it could feel jarring, it could feel shocking. But here's the deal. Um, this is not about creating fear or panic, this particular episode. It's literally about preparation. I mean, that's how I use astrology in all of my endeavors, in my life, when I'm speaking with friends, when I'm speaking casually to the neighbor in the elevator, and I'm telling them Uranus is going into Gemini. It's all about awareness. It's not really about fear. And, all awareness starts with a little bit of fear, but fear does not have to like fully develop into full fear if your awareness can stick with the with what is being brought to awareness. Okay, like like fear comes in because it wants you to be aware, but once you're aware and you could sit with it peacefully and in harmony and in a neutral energy and a curiosity energy, and you really deepen your relationship with that particular thing that needs to be brought with awareness, fear doesn't really have a place because you're already aware. Now, where we get caught up in fear is if we disassociate for something, or if we're in denial about something, or um, we just don't want to deal with it, then it turns into a fear because it wants us to be aware, and we don't want to be aware because we don't like the feeling of discomfort. But that feeling of discomfort will only last a little bit because the awareness is really going to start to feel more stabilizing than destabilizing. All right. So Uranus and Gemini, it shifted. It's a 7-year transit. It shifted on April 25th, 2026. It's a 7-year transit. Uranus in Gemini is not just about change, it's rewiring how we think, communicate, process, and how we deal with reality itself. This transit disrupts the mind first, and it can. It can disrupt belief systems, narratives, media, and the way information moves between people. Now we are entering a cycle where intelligence becomes decentralized. I mean, it's already been on the process of decentralization, but now we're going to see this like even more. Just when you feel like it couldn't be even more decentralized, it can, it will, and it's going to happen. So it's no longer going to be held by institutions, but distributed across individuals and networks and technology. The shift in AI, it's quick, it's fast, it does allow us to have a different type of relationship with intelligence. We don't have to go do as much digging. We don't have to spend so much time trying to research something or learn something. AI brings all of that to us, And now our engagement, our ability to learn, to research, to get information, to execute, to implement, to take action, to get something going, to finish something, that time is cut in half. It has been before this Uranus and Gemini transit even started to begin. And now there's just going to be more of an acceleration in that. Humans are being asked to evolve in how we use our own intelligence. Side note, I think we have all been put at an unfair advantage in the sense that the school systems were not designed to educate us. They weren't designed to help us to become entrepreneurs or leaders or to build brands or products or services. Okay. Yes, you might be thinking, does Vanessa wear a tinfoil hat? Of course. I think the educational system was more designed to have us working in, you know, factory type positions, to keep us in controllable positions, not in leadership, but to keep us as workers, to keep us as laborers. That era is ending. Some people will choose to be there because they want to. Totally fine. I'm not going to judge them for any reason. If you want what you want, you get to have what you want. But for others, we can re educate ourselves instead of trying, in school, we were taught to memorize all this useless stuff that didn't really allow us to enter into the world with real world experience for the most part. Um, you know, even college. And by the way, I'm speaking, in case you don't know me, I have spent so many years in school. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I have a master's degree from Pepperdine University in government and politics. So I was taught to memorize the Constitution, learn all this stuff, learn all the fake history, craft all these, um, I don't know, research all the institutions, the FDA, the CIA, and kind of like almost advocate on their behalf. That was a lot of my training. That was a lot of um yeah, I'll just get that was the bulk of my training is just learning the political systems and not it wasn't about I wish my schooling would have taught us how to learn the current political systems and then also how to optimize it, change it, dismantle it, see what's not working. Why isn't it working? But instead, it was promoted that things are working and this is how it will always be. So memorize this. And when you start working for a politician, this will be your job. Stay in your lane. That's what I literally paid over $200,000 for my master's degree in politics and government. All right. So that was a little side note, but back to my point is, you know, we with AI, we are allowed to educate ourselves differently. And I'm not talking about just ChatGPT because there are other platforms out there that are research based. So if you're really trying to get to the bottom of an issue, like what is the real cause of blank? What is the real cause of cancer? What is the real cause of Lyme disease? Was Lyme disease around 5,000 years ago? If you have like these big questions because you're feeling called to solve a problem, there are AI systems. I'm not talking about ChatGPT because that's a different platform. There are other AI systems that will allow you to do the deep research without having to be in a physical library. Library, sorry. I always say that word wrong. So, we're society, the collective, we are going to start making a lot of progress fast. And Gemini is a quick energy. Uranus and Gemini together is quick. Uranus is the planet of revolution, rebelling against the status quo, rebelling against what the normal is, what it has been, rebelling against what we've already been taught to believe, right? Like we've been taught to believe the cause of cancer is, I don't know, apples, oranges, and grapes, right? But if someone was to take the initiative and use one of the deeper AI systems that allows you to do credible research, you find out that the cause of cancer is not apples, oranges, and grapes. It's kiwis, bananas, and pineapple, right? So and then we have like a whole new we have a whole new way of solving an issue. A lot of things are going to advance quickly, and a lot of things will destabilize quickly because the people who believe that the cause of cancer is apples, oranges, and grapes, that their whole model and function is going to crumble because the people who discover that the real cause of cancer is, what did I just say? Pineapple. What did I say? Pineapple, uh, bananas, and something else. There is going to be some destabilization in our institutions because of AI. Yes, and it's because AI is allowing us to get to the truth. It's allowing us to become energetically sovereign. It's allowing us to do things more efficiently. If you choose to work 40 hours a week, great. But now you could probably get a lot more done in 40 hours a week than you could have 5 years ago. All right. And if you choose to work 20 hours a week, you can get what you were doing and whatever took you 40 hours a week, you can get that done 20 hours a week. And now you have more time to work on another project, to start seeing how we could solve our water problem, right? Or our blank problem, or this issue, or that issue, or how we can have more off-grid communities, whatever it is. And again, because a lot of us want to create a different world, a different society, and we have the support of Uranus and Gemini allowing technology to serve us and help us and support us quicker, faster, cheaper, more efficiently, all the things, there's just going to be a lot of change, a lot of decentralization. And when decentralization happens, destabilization can happen from the centralized standpoint. And then the people get fearful because there's people become fearful because they don't know what things are going to look like if it's different. But I challenge you to lean into faith instead of fear. I'm not saying fear is not going to arise. It's a natural emotion and it should arise because it serves a purpose. When fear comes, it's trying to get you to be aware of something. So get the gift that fear is trying to give you, receive it. The fear, if you're emotionally clean, and not clean, if you're emotionally um, if you're present, you should be able to process any emotion within a couple of minutes. And that emotion can be done. Now you have the gift of awareness, and now you're off to do your next thing because you just gained awareness of something, and now you can proceed accordingly. All right. So like I said, Uranus is about revolution, rebelling against systems, rebelling against the status quo, coming up with unconventional ideas, unconventional processes, unconventional services, just anything that's just not normal. It's this unusual energy, this eccentric energy, unexpected energy. Our current systems are designed for things to be very predictable. because that's how control is maintained by predictability. And because they're pushing the status quo, pushing the status quo, pushing the status quo. So that equals predictability, predictability, predictability. And now that's changing. So things will be a little unpredictable. Doesn't mean it's going to be always negative. It could be positive. It could be neutral. The goal of Uranus is to create freedom. It's to create freedom. That's why it comes in and it shakes everything up. And a lot of everyone, we just experienced our lives being shooken up in the Taurus parts of our chart for the last 8 years. For me, Uranus shook up my whole entire career in my 10th house and my public reputation and my goals and everything and money and everything connected to it. It created it shook things up. I can't even say it was negative because I feel so free in that area of my life now. Like I'll have to do a whole nother episode on how I just don't give a F when it comes to certain things having to do with my 10th house because I'm free. I'm not chained or trapped there. Why? Because Uranus shook things up. There was a lot of unexpected things that happened. There was a lot of destabilization that happened. And I'm just free to do whatever I want whenever I want now. All right. So just think of regardless of the destabilization, unpredictability, think of it as a planet that is the ultimate goal. We're not going to feel free when, the whole 7 years when we're navigating Uranus and Gemini. Again, it's more of a shocking experience because things are shifting fast, changing fast. Something's falling apart. There's a lot of uncertainty. You don't know what's going to replace, blah, 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 right? You get the gist. And back to the individual take, you need to know where you have Gemini in your chart. Okay. There's 12 signs, 12 houses in an individual's birth chart, depending on what time you were born. So it's not, if your birthday is in May and you're a Taurus, your chart, Taurus is not your rising sign just because you're a Taurus sun sign. You would actually need to know your time of birth. And then your time of birth gives us the position of the planets or the planet that was in the east when you were born, and that is your rising because the sun was rising in a certain sign at the time or the day that you were born, and that is your rising sign. So if your birthday's in May, you could be a Taurus sun sign because that was a month of Taurus, but you could also be a Sagittarius rising, or you could be a Gemini rising. So you need to know your rising sign because the house it's in is going to tell us like what area of life you actually might start to, not might, you will experience change, shift, unpredictability, destabilization, rebuilding, but you'll come out free at the end, especially if you do this consciously. I can't say everyone comes out of the Uranus transit free and happy like I am, because sometimes they don't know how to process all of the shifts, the damage, all the things that got destabilized. They feel like they were being punished. They feel like just life put them through the ringer and they don't understand that there was a bigger story at play. But astrology helps us understand the story. All right. Now that's a lot about Uranus. Gemini rules language. So this transit will redefine how we speak, how we write, how we sell, how we teach, and how we influence at scale. The people who thrive in this area are not the ones with the most information. That's long and gone, right? We have systems that can give us information very quickly. Not all, like I said, not like ChatGPT is not a reliable source for information. I mean, if you're doing cooking recipes, great. I used ChatGPT yesterday to put together the most amazing taco seasoning, like collection of seasonings for chicken tacos. Oh my God. It was amazing. But but ChatGPT is not going to be credible for deeper research or solving like, global issues. Just quick FYI. Where was I? Oh, the people who thrive in this area are not the ones with the most information, but the ones who can interpret, connect, and translate it the fastest will thrive. It's delivery, you guys. It's delivery. No one is short of information. We've been drowning in information for 10 plus years. Ever since, I don't, probably even longer, ever since Google and the internet became available, we have had more information at our fingertips than we actually even needed. Okay. AI has accelerated this. We have more information at our fingertips than we even needed. But still, people, the problem, the issue, the challenge, it's probably not a problem, but the challenge that some people actually navigate pretty well, and the challenge that some people choose not to navigate fully is that they get the information and they don't embody it. They don't put it into practice. They don't integrate it into their work. They don't integrate it into their lives. And then oftentimes they can't deliver it well. The delivery's off. The delivery falls flat. And then they can't turn it into a service. And then they can't turn it into something beneficial for others because we all can get the same information, but interpreting it, connecting it, translating it, and delivering it is a skill set that we all have, but you just need to do it in your own way. The collapse of linear thinking is upon us with this transit. Multidimensional thinking is coming in, pattern recognition is coming in, and intuitive processing is coming in, and it's becoming the new advantage. Your nervous system becomes part of your strategy because the speed of this transit requires regulation just as much as intelligence. I've been telling all my clients for the last week, you know, regulate your electrical system. I call the nervous system your electrical system because I think the nervous system term is, I think it has a negative connotation, but that's besides the point. So regulate yourself. And that, regulating your nervous system doesn't have to mean meditating. It can mean going on walks. It can mean dancing, going to a static dance every Friday night. It can mean having laughter and conversation with friends. You need to know what your thing is because that is going to be the tool and the practice that will allow you to thrive for the next 7 years. And you need to do it religiously. If going on a 1 hour walk or jumping on your rebounder for a couple minutes is your nervous system regulation, your electrical pathway regulation tool, you need to become disciplined in that because again, Gemini, Uranus and Gemini, there's so much change, so much destabilization. I don't recommend watching the news, but if you turn on the news, they're going to show you and tell you about all the things that are falling apart. But if you did your electrical system regulation practice, your nervous system regulation practice 2 or 3 times that day, how are you going to respond? You're probably going to respond really well. Your authentic self, the real you that was never traumatized by anything in your life, because your parts took that on. Your parts protected your soul from all the trauma and the drama. The part of you that has not been traumatized, she or he, if it's regulated, can handle anything. And you will be able to stay in your authentic energy, and you will be able to be energetically sovereign during any perceived crisis, any fabricated crisis, or any actually real crisis that may or may not be happening in the world. 2026 is a wild year. Um, and I don't even think we've seen the wild things that are to come yet. We're in April, and people feel like it's already been a wild year, but I think the things that create the wildness of this year haven't even happened yet. Again, I'm not trying to create fear. It's just an awareness. Like, if if you know you're gonna ride a wild horse, you just prepare to ride the wild horse. And when the horse goes wild, you're going wild with it. You're having fun with it, right? So let's see. As I wrap up, we are definitely moving from consuming information to orchestrating it. Um, your perspective, your delivery becomes currency. Your perspective, your curation, how you create it, how you deliver it, how you explain it, how you communicate it, how you deliver it is the currency. Um, yes, it's so important. A couple times people like send me stuff and they're like, "Hey, I looked at this thing," and they copy and paste whatever they found in ChatGPT to me, and I'm like, "That's great. I'm not gonna read that. I'm gonna skip over it because I rather just interact with you." It's cool that you're using ChatGPT to look up certain information, but I need, depending on, but my thought is I need the person to receive the information from the AI system. I need them to think about it, interpret it, and then deliver it to me in their own words. If you're not doing that, you might have a little bit of a struggle with Uranus and Gemini. Okay, so just take a deep breath. Like I said, it is a big change. It's a 7-year transit. Uranus and Gemini, it changes how you understand your place in the world and how you make decisions inside that reality. So just keep that in mind. And here's some practical grounded tips. So I gave you a lot of info, and you still might be like, okay, Vanessa, how do I work with this in everyday life? Tip number one, stop trying to know everything. Start learning how to think. That doesn't mean stop using AI. It means receive what you get from AI, interpret it, like receive it, interpret, and then deliver. And craft your thoughts on what you got from using the tool. All right. When you learn something, ask, how does this connect to three other things that I know? Right. Number two, consume less, process more. We're already overloaded, more input, more intelligence. For every hour you consume of content, spend at least 30 minutes writing, speaking, or organizing what you've learned. All right. Because then that takes you out of that consumption, and now you're actually embodying what you've learned and processing it. Number three, turn your voice into an asset. Gemini is all about communication. It's all about speaking. It's all about articulating your message. And your ability to articulate equals leverage, especially with Uranus and Gemini. We saw this happen a lot when we had Jupiter and Gemini. The people, and that was in 2025, the people who were articulating well gained a lot of leverage. In Jupiter, like really amplifies things. So if you were amplifying your voice, if you were going on a bunch of podcasts, if you were speaking at all these things, you gained a lot of leverage. We will also see that with Uranus and Gemini. So share your ideas publicly on threads, podcasts, voice notes, writing, even before it feels perfect. Number four, learn how to work with AI and don't compete with it. You don't need to prove that you're better than AI or it like everyone there's not everyone. The fear is that AI is going to replace you. Um, it's going to replace the things that stress you out, honestly. The things that have been taking away your life force energy, the things that have been like draining you, it will replace that. And I think you should let it. AI wins at speed and volume. You win at discernment and direction. Start to think of AI as a teammate, not a competitor. So use AI to expand your thinking, not replace it, prompt it, challenge it, and refine it. Number five, build pattern recognition instead of relying on credentials. The future favors people who can see what others miss. The future favors what people can see, what others miss. You got to be able to see what are the gaps. What are the blind spots here? What is not being said? I ask I ask myself that all the time in conversation. And then sometimes if I can't get it, I do ask some of my AI systems, what is not being said here? And I'll give it whatever I'm working on. So start noticing trends across industries, people behavior, and not just your niche. Number six, regulate your electrical system daily. Regulate your nervous system. If you don't know what it is, your number one priority, because we just started this transit 2 days ago, in 72 hours, you need to pick something. In 72 hours, you need to pick something. You could change it later. And if you already know what regulates your nervous system, but it's a task or it's a practice that's not accessible every day, like if swimming regulates your electrical system, your nervous system, but you could only go swim, you only have time to do, your 20 laps on the weekend. Great, but pick something that you could do every single day. Get on that rebounder, do some Wim Hof breathing, take a cold shower, and then do it religiously. Like if you're not a routine person, um, your life depends on the routine of regulating your electrical system during this Uranus transit. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just being real. Hmm. Number seven, get comfortable changing your mind quickly. Gemini is adaptable. It's an air sign. This might be tough for fixed sign people or earth signs, but rigidity will break under this transit. Adaptability will always win. Now, adaptability, it doesn't mean that you don't have discernment. It doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. So keep your boundaries, keep discernment, and at the same damn time, be open to adapting when it's necessary. Update your opinions in real time without making it mean that you're wrong or that you're indecisive or you're confused. Just be like, this actually feels like an opportunity to adapt. I'm going to sit with this for a couple days and I'll come back and I'll give you guys an answer. That simple, okay? Instead of my way is the highway. I've been working on this for 10 years. I have 40 years of experience. Never in my life have I not. No, 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 no. The world is changing fast. Adapt. Number eight, shorten your execution cycle. Thinking and then overthinking and then waiting is not the path, even though a lot of us feel safe doing that. Now with Uranus and Gemini, it's going to be more like, okay, create the idea or establish the idea, test it out. Maybe you test it 2, 3 times, adjust, and then move forward, and then refine as you go. Okay, you don't need to overthink it. You just need to stay in action. Test, adjust, refine, adjust. That's the energy. All right, become a translator for complexity. Oh, number 9. Sorry, I forgot to give you the number. Number 9, become a translator of complexity. People who can make complex things simple will dominate. This kind of connects to what I was saying earlier about like how you articulate things is leverage, it's currency. Like you're not selling information. If you think that you're super smart and intelligent and people need answers from you or your company, that's not necessarily, it could be it, a little bit, but it that's going to start shifting. It's more about making something super complex, super simple so that people can make a decision and we can get stuff done. Right? So take something complicated and explain it like you were explaining it to a 12, I was going to say 12th grader, a 12-year-old. When I was getting my master's degree in politics and government, when we crafted speeches for politicians, we were told to write in sixth grade language or write at a sixth grade level because that made everything super simple so that everyone can understand what the politician was talking about. Number 10, trust your internal intelligence more than external noise. Sit with that. Trust your internal intelligence more than external noise. I think this is probably the most challenging one. With more information than ever, discernment becomes everything. So the homework here is like but like before acting on something that you read or hear, pause and ask yourself, does this actually feel true to me? Or does this actually feel true? Remember, you are a version of God. We are all connected. You are connected to source. You have that same intelligence. Yes, we're all living our separate lives and our own individual experiences, but when you tap in and connect, you can and will and know everything if you want to access that. So during this 7-year phase of Gemini, it might be a really good idea to really connect to the field, connect to source, connect to the universe, connect to the thing, the energy that knows all things. Some people call it God, some people call it the universe, some people call it source, whatever it is. So thanks for joining me for this episode. You know, in gist, I just want to say we are moving from being informed to being intelligently responsive. That's if I had to sum this down, that's really what's happening. Now, on an individual level, you really want to gain more awareness on how this transit can impact your daily life. I just gave you the collective general synopsis of Uranus going in Gemini because we're all experiencing Uranus and Gemini, but we're all experiencing it in different ways because we all have different rising signs and we all have different astrology charts in different aspects. You know, even if two people are both Taurus risings, they're still going to experience Uranus and Gemini differently, you know, because they have their personal planets are in different places. and it adds a different flavor. It gives you different opportunities. It gives you different options. It gives you different challenges. It gives you a different theme. You need to know what it is. And I'm not here to really convince people that astrology works or that astrology is a powerful tool or that you should be using astrology in your daily life. Like, I'm done convincing people. Um, but if you have a gut feeling that astrology has a gift for you, that it has a message for you, that it can guide you, even if it's just for a short period of time in your life, please listen to that. Please, please listen to that. God is always speaking to us in so many different ways. And I believe that God gave us astrology as a navigation tool. So if you feel called, please book an astrology session with me. I have packages or I have a single session. My link is below. I would love to support you, and I can meet you where you're at. If you don't know anything about astrology, that's fine. If you think you know everything about astrology, that's even better. I love giving astrology sessions to other astrologers because we astrology is so nuanced. We five different astrologers can interpret something from different angles, and we can still benefit. So if you're feeling inspired to work with me, please do. My link is here. I would love to see you on Zoom. We'll dive in and we'll focus on your highest priorities and we'll see what you need to know about this upcoming transit, whether it's this one, Gemini, Uranus going into Gemini, or there might be something more important in conjunction to this happening in your chart that you need to be aware of too. So we'll focus on that if needed. Thanks again. Namaste and have a great day.